Hello everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to be talking about gitpod.io. Gitpod is an online editor where you can edit your code and run it all online. It also has some cool features to run your GitHub repositories in seconds. A while back I made a tutorial about AnyFiddle, which was a similar product, although unfortunately AnyFiddle will be shutting down this week, so Gitpod seems like the best alternative. Gitpod has been around for a couple years now, and they allow you to quickly open up a project. It can automatically install dependencies for you, so that saves you a lot of the time. And you don't need to worry about many environments being different, since you will have a single containerized version of your project, which you can share on any machine. The interface looks a lot like Visual Studio Code, so it should be very familiar if you use this on your desktop. The thing that's really cool about Gitpod, though, is that you can run this on any computer. You don't even have to have Visual Studio installed. To get started, I'll click Login, and I'll log in using GitHub. So you can see I don't have any projects right now, or workspaces, although you can see that we have different plans. The default is the open source plan, which gives you 50 hours in public and private repositories. This 100 hours upgrade is free with the GitHub student plans, so if you have the free version available, you might as well get this upgrade. You also have some integrations. You can use GitLab, GitHub, or Bitbucket, and you can set environment variables. So you can store project variables such as passwords and secrets that you don't want to have in your GitHub repository. In the preferences, we can choose different versions of VS Code. They have a insider's version or the regular version. And you can also even choose to open your project in your desktop IDE. And it'll use the online containerized terminal and run using their resources as opposed to using your own computer's environment. You can also choose a different theme, light theme or dark theme. And extensions are also supported within Gitpod, just like they are in VS Code. So to get started, I'll show an example of a workspace. I guess we can try out this Python Flask template. And you see it's pulling the container image. This should only take a few more seconds. All right, so you see that it opened up this project in an online VS Code, and it's already started up our server. Now we'll notice that it also gave us an online URL where this website can be visited. We can see that we can open up any of these files and edit them directly within Gitpod and save the workspace. It also shows issues in the workspace, and you have an entire terminal where you can run any commands. I can open up a new terminal. You can see they already have an environment set up with many things installed. Like, of course, Python is installed, as well as many other useful programs and dependency installers. Now, one feature that's really useful is that you can open up a GitHub repository directly within gitpod.io very quickly. I'll go to my GitHub account. I'll try opening one of my projects. Let's try this one. So from the GitHub repository, I can add to the URL. Before the word github.com, I can type gitpod.io/, and by pressing enter, it'll open up this project with gitpod.io. They also have a Chrome extension so that you could open up with one click by clicking on the green Gitpod button that appears in the top right corner. The extension is available for both Chrome and Firefox, and you can get it from the respective web stores. So here's my environment for my GitHub repository table to ASCII. So I can create a new terminal, and in here I can run any commands to start this project. I have Tox for my unit tests. I'll make sure that Tox is installed by running pip install Tox. And then I'll run the command by writing Tox. Now you see it's making sure that PyTest is installed, and you'll see that it ran all of my unit tests and they all passed. And all of this was done directly in the browser with no installation required. I could even test out my project by running Python, and I can say import table to ASCII, and I'll say table to ASCII dot table to ASCII of this list. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see it prints the output. Now, any of these files can also be modified within gitpod.io. So if I wanted to, I could open up my project and I could change something about the project. And then you'll see that I can go over to the source control, stage these commits, make a commit message, and then push them to GitHub. And since I logged in with my GitHub account, it's already authenticated. I can also show you an example of a node.js project. This project over here is written with JavaScript. I will click the Gitpod button this time. I've already created a workspace with this repository. I can click this to open it or create a new workspace. And you'll see that it already knows to run yarn install and yarn run build on my project. I'll open up a new terminal. And now you'll notice I have scripts here for testing, building, linting, and starting my project. And assuming my environment is set up correctly, I'd be able to run any of these scripts. You'll also notice that there's a gitpod.yml file that's created. This is not on my Git repository yet, but I could put this on my Git repository. And this would allow me to list some tasks that should run whenever you use Gitpod with this repository. It can also list some extensions that should be installed whenever you run this repository. In this case, just the ESLint extension is added, but I can tell it to list others as well. Now, one more thing I'll show in this video is that they have a Gitpod button in the bottom left that gives you some extra features specifically for Gitpod. You can stop the workspace, open settings, open access control, open the dashboard. One of the more interesting features here I see is that they have open VS Code. If we click on this, it'll ask to open it. So here, open my VS Code desktop application, and it says that my Gitpod is not installed in my VS Code. So I will install this. Now it's installing extension Gitpod. I will reload the window, and now I see it's connecting to this Gitpod workspace. It'll ask me to authorize, and I'll allow this, open, and we'll say continue. And now you'll see I have this project in my VS Code, and my terminal I have here is the Gitpod terminal. I'm using Gitpod's environment on my local machine's VS Code. And that means that I have all of my extensions that I normally use with my VS Code environment. And again, I'm still able to open these files, edit them, and commit them to GitHub, all within Visual Studio Code, and it was super simple to set up. If you love contributing to open source projects but don't want to have to deal with installing code, making sure your environment is set up correctly, Gitpod seems to be a great alternative development environment, which will make the process much simpler. I'd recommend you check it out. And one of the unique things about Gitpod is that they want to make it free for everyone. GitHub is officially releasing their own version of an online IDE with a VS Code theme called Codespaces. But as of now, it seems like it'll be a paid feature, potentially for GitHub Pro members only, whereas gitpod.io is going to be a free IDE, but although they do have additional paid plans that give you additional features. But while they do have paid plans, the free version is definitely sufficient for most use cases. I hope this video is helpful. Comment down below if you're interested in learning more about Gitpod, or whatever else you might be interested in learning from this YouTube channel. If you like this video, I'd appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.